That's a weird yet interesting choice, kicking off Armageddon with a montage of war battles to show that we got Hell in a Cell tonight, and then we got a pair of sexy legs walking in a hallway that doesn't connect to anything we just saw. I'll take the only sin I found and shove it up my ass, because this video package of literal Armageddon set the tone for what should hopefully be an insane night. The cameras quickly panned away, likely because they had to extinguish the fires on the destroyed cars and not cause any bad fumes to hit the air. Everyone over at WWF New York City are having the time of their lives, and then there's this asshole sitting right here who'd rather be anywhere but here.
And there you see it!
The Hell in a Cell structure has already descended halfway to the ring, yet the match itself is not due to start for another 2.5 hours. Why not just leave it above the ring until it's time for the match to start? Kinda pointless to bring it down already.
Hello, Vince.
Big limousine reveal ruined by Pat Patterson literally saying Vince McMahon's name. What do you bet this is the 4th or 5th take of them doing this, and Vince simply gave up when Pat kept repeating his name before he revealed himself.
Foley's got that Hell in the Cell.
Gerald Briscoe is acting like Vince McMahon himself doesn't know that the Hell in a Cell cage is hanging above the ring, despite the latter wanting to get that match canceled for weeks. Is the cage going to be that low to the ring all night long? What if somebody goes flying out of the ring and whacks their head against it? Mick Foley, you really are a psychopath for allowing this. I won't lie, I don't see how it's fair to have an intergender tag team match with only one team's female competing. Throw Terry Runnels into the match as well. Match has officially begun, so I guess this means everyone is allowed to be in the ring at once. Honestly, if that actually was the case, this would be a lot more entertaining to watch. Also, while everyone else is fighting, Dean Malenko is merely taunting and pointing at Lita instead of, I don't know, attacking her. I get that he has a crush on her and forced her to date him that one time, but she humiliated you, dude. Fight! Let's just all be thankful that the production team lifted the cage higher above the ring, otherwise Jeff Hardy would have gone sailing right into it.
Jeff Hardy with a tag.
Perry Saturn saw Jeff Hardy attack Dean Malenko and even tried to grab Jeff to prevent that. The moment Jeff turned in his direction, Perry could have easily leaped off the apron to avoid being hit, or hit Jeff himself. The timekeeper rang the bell to end the match, realized that this match has elimination rules, and tried to hide his mistake by ringing the bell for every elimination that occurs afterwards.
Oh, there's a cover.
The referee counts so fast to try and end the match quickly when they should be counting normally cliche. Welcome to the ever-growing list of cliches. There's cookies in the on my hand section if you want some. I put it in that section because the baker kept burning his hands in the oven. I know that the Hardy Boys have history with Terry Runnels back in 1999, but since no one is afraid of hitting opposite genders in this match, why does Matt Hardy hesitate and let Lita beat her down? Perfect chance for a twist of fate. Dean Malenko is nowhere to be found, and Lita has your back. This referee is such an asshole. I guarantee Dean Malenko paid him off to quickly count for his opponents. That one moment when these last 2 minutes involving Dean and Lita were far more entertaining than when the rest of the competition was present. This had a lot of fast-paced back-and-forth action for intergender wrestling. Honestly, this moment of Dean pinning Lita only to lift her back up and punish her some more would have been better if Lita took advantage and got the win. But this just leads to Dean eventually winning because he got bored.
Another day, or maybe just go.
Post-match assault, poor Lita.
This could be the make or break moment.
Lillian Garcia thinks it's a good idea to interrupt Kurt Angle while he's doing squats for his match. No offense, but couldn't you wait until after he was done before asking him the questions?
Kurt.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kurt Angle would be great at CinemaSins 2 expansion. I'd be pissed off too if someone interrupted me while I'm preparing for Hell in a Cell.
Would you like to see my career come to an end, Lillian? I didn't think so.
Kurt Angle interrupted before Lillian could respond, likely because she was about to say, "Yes, I do, asshole." This shot of the outside of the arena would look cooler if there were spotlights shining illuminating it. I can't see a damn thing at all. Previously on WWF, and shockingly, this is not the only time they show the footage of Cactus Jack going through Hell in a Cell earlier this year at No Way Out.
I am the one that cares about you.
So allow me to demonstrate how much I care for you fine people by constantly insulting you and making you hate me. Well, since this guy didn't get his name announced by Howard Finkel, I guess he will remain unnamed for the duration of the evening.
We're in the European.
William Regal's unknown opponent without a name somehow fell for that heel trick.
Enrich your life as well. Oh.
So was that random guy's plan to jump off the top rope and land beside William Regal? Just for once, I'd like to see someone do that, but the opponent doesn't lift up the leg to counter. Honestly, if this was actually working, why would William Regal release the hold? The guy with the blonde hair was about to give up, too. Never thought I'd be removing a sin for a wrestler whose name remains a mystery, but I guess I've done crazier things on here. The strength was pretty hardcore, too. His muscles must be as thick as a holly oak tree. You know what? Until his name is revealed, I'm just gonna call this guy Hardcore Holly. I hope that's okay with y'all. How the fuck did the referee not feel the impact of Raven's DDT behind him? Did he turn around and practically assume that the guy I'm calling Hardcore Holly simply fell over from exhaustion or something? Here are 5 sins.
Wait a minute.
Victory due to outside interference is always a sin. Poor guy I named Hardcore Holly. Now, what's his actual ring name? It's still not time for this match yet. The entire existence of that annoying right to censor theme song. I only heard it for 3 seconds and my head's already about to explode from the annoyance. It's a pre-match assault, which I'll sin, but I am also guaranteeing that China attacked Val Venus so that the music could shut off, which I don't blame her for. Getting a drop toe hold hit on you somehow turns on the instinct to hit a double axe handle on the ring canvas. Ivory is already bleeding after taking one hit that didn't even connect with her jaw whatsoever. I guess right to censor also means right to defy logic.
Hey, look at that!
The referee clearly saw Ivory trip up China and didn't once eject her or think to call for the disqualification.
Wait a minute!
China's right shoulder was off the canvas throughout this entire pinfall, and you can see the canvas beyond her from that first camera shot too, yet the referee completely ignores it. Right to censor must also have referees at their disposal. Also, I am not kidding. Right after this, it takes nearly 30 damn minutes between this match and the start of the next one. Freaking 30. Did they not build the show up properly?
Last year's Hell in the Cell match against Mick.
That was literally this year, you stupid dumbass.
Tonight, Triple H has to face 5 other opponents.
Well, look on the bright side. At least Mick Foley isn't one of those 5 other guys that Triple H has to face, if that makes you feel any better about this.
Hell in a Cell, the king.
Now we're playing the cage lowering music and flash of the spotlights on the Hell in a Cell structure, yet once again this match is not scheduled to take place for another hour and a half. What is the point of this? You're getting us hyped up when nothing is happening. I am trying to focus on this recap of The Undertaker being interviewed for the Hell in a Cell match tonight, but I can't help but feel irritated at the diagonal formation of the camera's point of view, like how I can't take pictures being crooked on the walls. Also, entertaining as The Undertaker is, this flashback to his interview lasts nearly 6 entire minutes. Do we seriously have so much empty space for this show?
The more he bled, the more I wanted him to bleed.
I gotta take a sit out because The Undertaker really captures the intensity and obsession for violence when it comes to this match type. No one can ever match up to him when it comes to wanting to commit heinous acts in the ring. Jesus, is this camera about to be turned completely upside down? I'm literally craning my neck to the side just so I can level out the view. After 3 minutes of Stephanie McMahon begging Vince McMahon to not allow the Hell in a Cell match to take place, and 6 minutes of The Undertaker describing the horrors he committed inside the structure, now we get another 5 to 6 minutes worth of Vince performing another promo regarding the cell. I know that this is a massive main event, and I'm excited for it, but I want to see more wrestling on my wrestling show. I didn't pay money to see y'all talk and talk.
I meant every word.
Vince McMahon arrives to protest the Hell in a Cell match taking place tonight, but proceeds to waste 3 minutes bragging about his divorce of Linda McMahon, which we don't give a shit about.
With my heart in my hand.
That's a walking stick, you idiot.
The owner of World Wrestling Federation Entertainment.
Jesus, even before the World Wildlife Fund forced the WWF to rename themselves WWE, Vince McMahon was already in the midst of changing the name. I'm starting to think this company would be renamed WWE even if the World Wildlife Fund didn't exist at all.
Nor will you allow the Hell in a Cell match.
Aren't you like the CEO of this company, the guy who runs things around here no matter who the commissioner is? Why won't you do something about this match taking place if you're so scared? There's more fans standing up than there are sitting down, yet Vince McMahon is upset that not enough stood up. Hey, if over half the arena stood up when you told them to, I consider that to be a win in my book, not a loss.
This is about coffee.
Kane made it clear that the coffee incident wasn't the reason he targeted Chris Jericho, but to me, the viewer, I find it awkward that Kane starts attacking Chris Jericho right after the coffee incident. Last time I got coffee splashed on me, I didn't go after the person. I went to the hospital with thermal burns and hated him for life. Kane was probably irritated at the lack of action in the last half hour as I was.
No pinfalls, no submission.
That's literally the 4th time Jim Ross has reminded us of what the rules are in a last man standing match. We heard you the first 3 times. 45 seconds of showing the crowd because the camera crew backstage wasn't in position to showcase the action. With the height Kane threw that case, I don't think he would have hit Chris Jericho even if the latter didn't duck out of the way. Poor Midian, reduced to being just a random guy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Don't you just hate it when that happens to wrestlers? Ow, my hands! Aw, look at these two. They're fighting in a last man standing match, but choose to hug it out midway. A young Dr. Shelby was probably watching this match and knew that Kane could use that to help with his anger management 12 years later. Conversations during matches, as you could clearly hear Kane tell Chris Jericho to run into the next turnbuckle. Camera crew should keep the microphones away so we, the viewers, can't hear that. This obviously won't help Kane win as there are no submissions in a last man standing match. Whoops, now I'm explaining the rules. Fuck. But I gotta remove a sin because that submission is brutal and it's a shame Kane never seems to use it again after this match. Even from this camera angle, you could tell that Kane was nowhere near Chris Jericho with whatever the hell that was supposed to be. Teddy Long taking nearly 10 seconds between each count. I know that referees don't count as fast in this match, but sure as hell not this slow. Chris Jericho is addicted to Kane's Big Red Machines. If WWF edited out the first attempt to put Kane through a table that failed miserably, then fine. But if you're going to reshoot that part, at least make sure the competitors are in the right position, because Chris Jericho was clearly to the right of Kane in the first shot, but then suddenly he teleported to the left of Kane in the next shot. He really is a wizard. Because of how the barrels are positioned, Kane didn't get hit by any of them. Not to mention, this is to make it look like Kane is trapped underneath when he could easily crawl his way out of there through the wide open exit points.
Last man standing match. Are you having any second thoughts about the 6-man Hell in the Cell?
Mick Foley probably doesn't have any regrets because he saw more botches than he saw anything else in that last man standing match. It's still not time for this match yet! We might as well have renamed this event Armageddon, the show with only one interesting match. Push-up sex. Gosh darn it, not another right to censor match. I don't know how much more of this I could take anymore. Also, the Good Father and Bo Buchanan are the World Tag Team Champions, yet they are entering second instead of last like champions are supposed to. Why are the champions entering in between challengers? It's hard to tell if Steven Richards is pissed off at the Dudley Boys or if he is constipated. Take your pick. The Good Father was in the corner of K-Quick and Road Dogg, and neither man sees the opportunity to tag themselves in. The Good Father is honestly an idiot. Stupid as the rules of this match are, I would not send my opponent into a corner with an entire team waiting, because then I'd get tagged out and be forced to wait in my corner. See what I mean? Now the Good Father is confused and pissed off that he got tagged out when he should have expected that shit to happen.
What's wrong with that?
Alright, I'll take off a sin because this double shake, rattle, and roll was perfectly synced with Road Dogg and Bubba Ray Dudley. K-Quick saw Edge perform push-up sex during his entrance earlier and got inspired to do that himself.
Do they want tables for Christmas?
Jerry Lawler did a good job addressing the We Want Tables chant by assuming they wanted tables for their homes this Christmas. Clever work indeed. While it was understandable that K-Quick wanted to tag out because of how much pain he was in, it's also not a smart move to tag your team out. K-Quick unintentionally cost his team the tag team titles as a result. Botched 3D caused Bubba Ray Dudley to suffer a cross-body by Bo Buchanan instead of damaging the latter.
This is our third of 5 titles.
It was simple, quick, and effective, so I'll take off another sin for the perfect timing on Billy Gunn's drop toe hold on Chris Benoit. Good thing this didn't activate Chris's instinct to hit a double axe handle on the ring canvas like it did to Val Venus earlier in the show.
My daddy would return from wherever he is and kick my butt.
What?
And now, Benoit trying to get the...
Wrestlers really sold the intensity and destructive power that the crippler crossface possesses by squirming all over the place in order to prevent Chris Benoit from locking it in, and that's awesome to see.
Machine. Oh!
Haha, you failed.
Benoit into the crossface.
Not gonna lie, didn't find much sins on here at all. This was actually a great technical wrestling match between Chris Benoit and Billy Gunn, and they didn't waste any time with anything either. Congratulations.
How in God's name, Steve, can you prepare for something like this?
Well, I've actually been in a Hell in a Cell match before, even though nobody remembers it, but go ahead.
We can go back to her place and let me grind her coffee.
Oh my god, we were so close to having a pay-per-view event without Jerry Lawler being a horny pervert. So freaking close.
Oh, baby. Oh.
Oh god, please, will it never end?
That milk area. Oh, look at that. Oh, man.
Wasn't much of a double team action since Trish Stratus couldn't give two shits about Ivory, but that was still impressive and well-timed to me.
Cradle, Molly. Looking for the cup.
The referees seriously need to stop counting so fast because that's not even fair to anyone competing.
Title matches.
Ivory demands that Trish Stratus let her hit a suplex on Molly Holly. Hey, you're both in position to hit a double suplex, so just do it already. I'm bored.
Going for the cover. They got it.
Well, this match was almost as torturous as the Right to Censor theme song, so I'm just going to throw in 10 sins for the disappointment. Alright, we're positive that we don't have any more matches taking place tonight, right? Sorry for asking, it's just that they've been doing this and then not beginning the main event all night long, and I just had to be sure.
Retired Mick Foley.
Yeah, Triple H retired Mick Foley at No Way Out earlier this year. Let's just ignore the fact that Mick Foley literally competed in the main event of WrestleMania 2000 the following month after the so-called retirement that took place. Also, even if Mick Foley did retire after No Way Out, y'all were acting like it was because of the Cage's brutality, when in reality, it was because of a career-threatening stipulation.
Prepared to bleed. Oh, I think so.
Rikishi is indeed prepared to bleed in this match, though he's conveniently the only wrestler who doesn't draw blood at any point in tonight's main event. What is it with champions entering in between all their challenges throughout the night? Come on, guys, follow tradition. The pyrotechnics erupted before Kurt Angle could even pose. Quite a lot of these guys are out their game tonight. Stone Cold Steve Austin is literally the only one who didn't ignore Kurt Angle, who was cowering at the entrance to the cage for nearly 4 minutes. Surprised even The Rock and The Undertaker ignored Kurt while they entered. Probably should have waited until everyone was inside the cage so the door could be locked before you rang the bell to begin the match. Steve Austin didn't even toss Triple H into the cage, who fell forward because he probably wanted to be the first wrestler to draw blood in this packed main event. You clearly saw The Undertaker remove his bandana to strangle Kurt Angle with, and you're questioning what he has in his hands. Insane as this match is, unfortunately, there's a lot of missed moments due to the lack of split screens. If there's any match that needed a split screen or two, it was this one. What are you talking about, Jerry? Inside the ring is literally the only way these guys can win according to the rules anyway. Though we may be confused because wrestlers have tried to pin each other outside the ring too. Once again, I will say that the cameramen should really not be inside the cage due to the very cramped amount of space. I'm pretty sure Rikishi is alright, Kurt. Good on you for checking in on him and making sure to say it loud enough for everyone at home to hear. Hunter hit the cage wall with his hands, yet somehow his head was bleeding from that. WWF logic. Steve Austin had a great plan by dragging Hunter's face against every side of the Hell in a Cell structure. I only wish Hunter started bleeding after that instead of when he whacked his hands against it. Then it looked more believable.
What's he doing?
Given the last few weeks, it's obvious why Vince McMahon is out here. The bigger question is why there was a random truck full of wood chips hanging out in this arena at an event that didn't require any wood to be shredded. Vince McMahon and the pickup truck successfully rips the door to the cage simply so the rest of the outside carnage can happen.
I'm gonna take the whole damn thing down!
Say this plan worked, and Vince successfully ripped the Hell in a Cell structure. Are we just gonna ignore the fact that ripping the steel walls down would cause the majority to fall into the fans below, which would seriously injure and potentially kill some of them? You sick motherfucker. Mick Foley shows up conveniently when the cage walls are about to be dropped on the fans, but not when the truck initially arrived. I guarantee even he wanted the 6 wrestlers to escape from the cage so that they could perform more violent acts outside. Vince McMahon, the guy who owns the WWF, is apparently getting escorted out of the arena by his own security. Did everyone forget that Vince owns the entire company or something? Hunter told Stephanie McMahon earlier that he would do anything to become the WWF champion because it means the world to him. Yet here he is, running away from the action. So much for that whole speech. Here's what doesn't make sense. Steve Austin went headfirst into a car window, which caused him to bleed. However, when Kurt Angle went through a car window, no blood whatsoever. The camera crew made a choice between watching The Rock punch Triple H a few times and Rikishi literally dropping a heavy barrel that weighs a lot right onto Kurt Angle's back, and figured the former was the more brutal choice. You can tell that The Rock's face never connected with the top of the car, yet his face is bleeding from the pedigree. Bleeding is a sin, obviously, but at least do it in moments where blood would logically spill. The Rock bled from not hitting the roof of a car. Meanwhile, The Undertaker literally hits his face off the door of a car and doesn't so much as suffer a scratch. I honestly thought it'd be nearly impossible to find sins in this great main event, but so far, I'm finding a lot of them. Wrestlers seriously need to tighten their trunks more so that moments like this don't happen. Steve Austin was literally climbing the same side of the cage as Hunter was less than 20 seconds ago, but figures climbing the other side is a lot easier to reach her opponent.
Get out here, Foley!
What are you talking about? Mick Foley is nowhere near the cage anymore. It's still awesome to see a camera view from below whenever cool moments happen in these matches. Now that's just fucking scary. Rikishi taking a risk by falling off the cell into the back of a truck. And even if that cushions his fall, those wood chips don't exactly feel good upon impact. I've fallen into wood chips before and they fucking hurt. Removing 15 sins. Although I'm adding another sin. The Undertaker simply pushed Rikishi off the cage in comparison to lifting him and throwing. This was somehow enough to finish off The Undertaker for the rest of the match. Stone Cold Steve Austin has the perfect reaction to Rikishi's fall and it really sells the moment. Match had a lot of sins, but a very good ending. While nearly unconscious, Kurt Angle placed a few fingers over The Rock, which was enough to pin the ladder and give Kurt the victory to retain his title. What an insane match.